Welcome guys. So today I'm gonna be building a home studio. This is what I call a content machine. This is the space that we're gonna be using, and of course first thing when you get in, you have to look at the space, look at the acoustics. Right now we have a carpet, which is good. We have a little bit of drywall, so we don't have a lot of echoes in here, so which is really good. Maybe I'm gonna be suggesting in the future to add few panels on the wall just to contain the sound. But usually what you want to do, you want to clap a little bit, see if you're getting any echoes. But if you're not, then you should be good. So right now, because of the carpet and everything that we have here in the room, everything looks good. So we're gonna go ahead and start building the studio. We already have the computer, so the computer is here, the monitor, keyboard, and the mouse, of course. So the first thing before we get to lighting, always we're gonna go ahead and check out the audio. Now for audio, we're gonna be using this microphone from Shure. This is the Shure MV7X. This is an XLR microphone. I've already unboxed it. So this is what the microphone looks like. It's a great mic. You don't have a USB option for it, so it's 100% XLR. So we're gonna be using an interface for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out our interface. So for the interface, we're gonna be using the Focusrite Vocaster 2. You don't have to get the Vocaster 2, you can get Vocaster 1. However, because we're gonna be eventually, my client is gonna be using two microphones sometimes, it was a good idea to actually get the Vocaster 2 because you can get two microphone inputs with that. All right, so let's go ahead and unbox it and check it out. All right, so guys, we got the Vocaster 2. This is what it looks like. It's a small, compact interface. Again, there's a Vocaster 1. It's exactly the same thing, but only with one input. So this is what it looks like. We got two microphone inputs in here. So this is where you connect your microphones. And then you get some other options for connecting your headphones. If you have studio monitors, you can connect those. And the front really is where you control your mic. So you have two knobs for controlling your microphones. And then you have, like for the gain. And then you have this middle one just to make some adjustments. So eventually, depending on what you're trying to do. And some other buttons here. Okay, this is a great interface, guys. I recommend it. If you use the Shure SM7B, you can still use this interface because it has enough gain to power the Shure SM7B as well. So let's go ahead and have it here. The next thing we are missing now is gonna be our XLR cable. So we already have two cables. So these are what they look like. And what we need to do, we're gonna go ahead and connect the cables. So what I got this angled XLR cable. The reason why I like it is if I connect it, probably gonna connect like this. You can see how it looks cleaner, right? Compared to having like a normal XLR cable that will go this way. So you can have this from Amazon, and I like the fact that it's kind of angled. So it's kind of cool. Before we connect to the Vocaster 2, we're gonna need some USB cable. So we should have the USB cable that comes with the Vocaster 2, hopefully. Oh, there we go. So you're gonna need this USB cable. This is for you to power the interface that connects directly into your computer. Just connect on the back here. is the only USB port that it has. So it's not gonna need any extra power. It's just the computer is gonna be powering it, okay? Which is cool. So now before we get too far, we're gonna need a stand for the microphone. So let me find it. So for the microphone, we got the desktop microphone stand from OnStage. This is the one we're gonna be using. So let's go ahead and open it. So some people prefer this kind of stand. Other people, actually my client had this kind of stand. This is like a boom arm with this type of microphone. So if you need to get a boom arm, this is like a personal preference. So if you need to get something like this, like a boom arm, you can still use this. However, personally, I like having this kind of short, low profile stand on the table. And obviously my client, this is what they chose. So that's what we're gonna be using. So just gonna put this here. So let's go ahead and put it together. As you can see, it's very short, but you can extend it a little bit depending on how tall you are, right? And then we got the base. The base is very heavy, so it's gonna keep your microphone steady and stable. So we're gonna insert the base like this. And we're gonna put the microphone on the top like this. Super easy. Let me just lock it first. All right, so everything looks good. And again, you can adjust it depending on how tall you are. And this is just a label, we're gonna remove it. And we're gonna put the microphone in the center. So again, depending on, this is gonna be subjective. Some people will put it on the side like this. So it depends when you sit, because you wanna look at the monitor, what's going on. So you can actually adjust it depending on what you're trying to do and where you actually feel comfortable. So next thing, we're gonna go ahead and connect our XLR cable. The other end of XLR cable goes into the interface. So since we have two microphone inputs, one is called the host, the other one is called the guest. If you're getting the Vocaster 2, so we're gonna go ahead, the first microphone, we're gonna connect it into the host input, and we're good to go. So the other end of USB, it goes into the computer. So we're gonna go ahead and connect that in the computer. So usually, as you can see, it's gonna look a little messy with the cables, but when you're done installing everything, you can actually try to organize your cables and make sure everything looks good. So this is the audio part. Again, the computer is not on, but as soon as we turn on the computer, we can actually start using the audio, our microphone and our interface. It's gonna sound really good. So when it comes to sound, we ended up also adding two extra items. The first one being the in-ear headphones or in-ear earphones. Okay, these basically are earphones that you use because you need to monitor your audio either for your own voice and to also monitor if you have guests on, right? You're doing like a Zoom call, or you're doing a show where you have a guest on, like a podcast or a live stream where you have a guest on remotely. You still need to hear them because you cannot use speakers. So that's why we end up buying these in-ear monitors or in-ear earphones. Basically, the reason why we bought this type is because you can easily
hide them behind your ear, and they kind of like, people are not gonna notice that you're wearing them, which is awesome. So because they're short and you want to make sure when you're sitting, because the cable is kind of short, when you're sitting you want to make sure you can reach to the interface without any problem. Also ended up buying these headphone extension cables. These are like 6 feet long, and just basically to allow you to kind of move a little bit, be able to move around, not too much, but also like, you know, not to kind of be comfortable when you're sitting, so you can have a room to move a little bit without having any issues. So that's pretty much it, but you're also gonna need some sort of just a little tiny adapter as well to be able to plug into the Vocaster 1 input. So basically these are called 6.35 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter audio jack adapter, okay, or 1/4 inch adapter. So basically it's just to make sure, because the hole or the input hole on the Vocaster 1 is a little bigger compared to the regular input kind of cable that you have on the earphones. So you're gonna need this little adapter as well, and that's pretty much it.
All right, so next up we're gonna move to the lighting part. All right guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and take care of the lighting. Now depending on the type of light that you get, this could be different, but I do recommend soft boxes. So depending on your budget, usually I recommend the Godox SL60W, which is exactly, I mean, it comes with the soft box, and the reason why I recommend this soft box is because it's a larger light source that's gonna give you really good even lighting on your face. Okay, so now for this, my client already had a lighting kit, so that's what we're gonna be using. It's called Mount Dog. Yeah, I think it's a generic brand. So it comes with this bulb here. Okay, so what you would do usually when you receive it, so it's gonna look like this. So you need to push, so to make sure the soft box opens up, and then we're gonna go ahead and insert the bulb just like so. And then once we're done, before we add, because there's something missing here, which is our diffuser, right? So the diffuser is gonna come in, it's gonna look like this. Every single soft box you're gonna buy is gonna come with something like this. This is crucial because it's gonna make your lighting really good. So we're gonna go ahead and attach it just like so. It's not complicated, but you have to be careful, because it's got some Velcro here and it's supposed to attach somewhere here, right? So we want to make sure we actually attach that there. So you have Velcro on both sides, like all the 4 sides of the light. So you want to make sure everything's attached, and this is what you should get at the end. Okay, so this is gonna look good as soon as we turn it on, and everything you guys are going to see. Now, one thing that I like actually about this lighting kit, it comes with this remote. I would say this is actually crucial, because it's gonna help you to control the lights. You can turn it on, turn it off, without having to, you know, go reach out to this on and off button. Also, you can control the intensity of the light, which is amazing. So you're gonna need AAA batteries for the remote. Let's show you a little quick. And that's it. As soon as you turn it on, actually, as soon as you connect the light, I actually found out that the remote is gonna connect to it directly, so you can start using it, no problem. All right, another thing you're gonna get obviously is gonna be this light stand. This is important because this is where you're gonna mount your light. And what we're gonna do before we do anything, I'm gonna go ahead and actually put it at the back of our desk, and we're gonna mount the light. So let's go. So another thing that I recommend before, when you're setting up a home studio like this, you always wanna sit you don't want your to be sitting against the background or against the wall. So you want to make sure your desk is actually against the wall so you can have some space. I'm going to show you at the end of the whole setup, but you need more space between you and the background because that's where you're going to build some depth, you know, so that when people are watching, you have like some sort of separation between you and the background. So now the stand is ready. We're gonna go ahead and attach our light. So what you want to do with the light, you want to make sure you do a 45 degrees towards your face. So we're gonna tilt it. Let me show you a little quick. Want to make sure it goes up a little bit. So right now this looks good, something like this, but we may have to adjust it. All right, once we start recording, we may have to make some adjustments, but this is what you want. Okay, you don't want it to be facing directly towards your face. You want it to tilt a little bit so it makes like some sort of 45 degrees angle. And also, you want to make sure it's stable, so we're gonna go ahead and try to spread the legs. All right, so this looks stable. And then we're gonna tilt it like this because our subject is gonna be sitting there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and connect this into power and turn it on and see what we get. All right, it's already on, but we do have like an off and on button here that you can use. But ideally, you wanna keep it on like this since we have the luxury of having a remote. So as you can see, I can turn it off and I can turn it on whenever I want, which is cool. I can also, with the remote, decrease the intensity and increase the intensity, which is awesome. Perfect. So usually what you need to do when you do these kind of things, you need to turn off all the room lights so you only have one source of light, and then you can build from there. But what we just installed, this is our key light. The key light is like the main light that we're gonna be using for content. Everything else we're gonna be adding in the background on the side is gonna be what we call accent lights or backlighting, it's like adding salt and spice after cooking. So that's pretty much it for our key light.
So when it comes to backlighting, we have this kind of flow lamp style from Govi. This is an RGB light. It's gonna provide, basically it's gonna be used for two purposes. The first purpose is gonna be to kind of make like, you know, be the backlight, which is to kind of separate us from the background. And the second is gonna be to create this RGB colorful vibe behind in the background. All right, so this is what it looks like. Sometimes for backlighting, really, you don't have to overthink it. You can use something that's already there, right? You can have like, you know, some sort of lamp that you were using before or other stuff, and you can just grab it and put it in the background. And you're gonna need to download the app. So again, I would encourage you to check out the user guide, and there's a QR code that you can scan to be able to download the app and be able to control the light with the app. Now, without the app, you may have an issue with getting it to, you know, show the RGB side of it, the colors, you know, to be able to change colors. By default, when you turn it on, it's just gonna give you pure white. So you need to get the app, and basically it's this long stick with this heavy base. We're just gonna go ahead and, you know, just unbox it and kind of put it together. It's easy if you follow the user guide. Really, it's gonna be super easy to put together. But once you have it put it together, and all you gotta do is just plug into the wall, and that's pretty much for the backlighting and of course the background.
All right, guys, so now we have the key light is installed, and we have the microphone, we have the computer is ready. Next up, we're gonna set up our camera and a few accessories. So for the camera, because I'm running out of USB ports, we're gonna be using this USB dock here from Pluggable. So basically this is to help because we already have an interface plugged in. We have we're gonna have a capture card plugged in, and we may have some other USB inputs already. Let's say if you have a mouse, keyboard that's now wireless, you're gonna actually need to have more SPAT for any other USB inputs. Okay, so if you don't have enough USB inputs on your computer, that's where I recommend having a dock like this one from Pluggable. Let me just show you a little quick what's inside. So this is what it looks like, and as you can see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 USB ports on it, which is cool. It's also powered, so it's not gonna be relying on your computer for power. So it comes with this USB cable and the power adapter. So we're gonna go ahead and plug it so we can use it for plugging in capture cards or anything else that we need really that needs USB. This is gonna be useful. So this is the USB cable. Just gonna plug in here on the back, just like so. Boom. And then we got our power adapter. Just gonna plug in on the back here, and then we're gonna go ahead and plug this. USB goes into the computer. USB part goes into the computer, and this is for power. All right, and that's where we're gonna be plugging in more stuff, more USB stuff. So to keep it clean, usually you want to go behind the computer, right? So you want to hide the cables, make sure they don't show. And I'm gonna go ahead and plug the USB into the back of the computer here. Perfect. So our dock is ready to be used now. So anything USB, we can actually go ahead and plug in there. So next thing, we're gonna go ahead and plug in our camera. So for the camera, we have the Sony ZV-E10. This is the camera that I recommend for most of you guys. If you have the budget, it's a great camera. This is a camera that's actually filming me right now, and it has great autofocus, and it's an interchangeable lens, which means you can buy multiple, different lenses depending on the effect that you want. So this is what it looks like. It's a very compact, small camera, but it's very powerful. You can use it for live streaming because it has a clean HDMI out, but you can also use it for recording content on the go, which is awesome. So with the camera, it's gonna come with this little charger. Okay, it's just a USB adapter. This is what it looks like, right? So this is basically to keep the camera charged. It's gonna come with this little USB cable. Now the USB cable is very short. There are two ways of using this camera when live streaming or recording content. The first way, you can plug in the USB cable and use it as a webcam, so you won't need a capture card. But that's not gonna give you the best quality. Now to get the best quality, you have to use the HDMI, which is gonna be what we're gonna be using, and we're gonna be using USB to charge the camera. So when you're live streaming or recording content, the last thing you want is to have the camera die on you while you're actually live. Okay, so to solve that problem, we're gonna plug the camera in so it stays plugged in all the time. So when you're live streaming or when you're recording content, you're not gonna have to worry about the battery dying on you. Cool. So that's why we're not gonna use this cheap small cable that comes with the camera. We actually have another camera. Before I actually get to that, just want to show you some other stuff. Another thing you're gonna get this little battery from Sony that comes with the camera. Now when you're live streaming, you probably won't need it because we're gonna have it plugged in, but we're gonna have the battery inserted anyways, so we can use it for recording content. So we're gonna insert the battery just like this, and we have an SD card slot. It actually came with an SD card, I didn't know. So the one that we have, this camera actually came with an SD card. Let me check it out. Nice. So it looks like we got an SD card that came with the camera, and that's 256 gig, which is awesome. So this is a gift from Amazon. I did not expect it. So this can help if you actually recording on the actual camera. So we're gonna go ahead and insert it, put it back in, and insert our battery. Boom, lock it. So the next thing, obviously you cannot use the camera without the lens. So we're gonna go ahead and get the lens. Now the lens we have is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. This is a great lens. It's wide, and it also has a lower number of aperture, which is supposed to give you good depth of field or like a blurry background. So we're gonna go ahead and check it out. This is what it looks like. By the way, it's the same lens that I'm using to film this video, and comes with the little hood here. Now you can use it. It's usually used for if you're filming in a sunny place, or if you don't want to use it, it's really up to you. So usually how it works, you just put it on the top here like this, something like this, and then we're good. We'll open the back of the lens, open the camera. Okay, now it's important, you have to always, whenever you have the camera open, you have to be careful because the sensor is very, very sensitive. So if you don't have the lens on the camera, always use this little camera lid to just make sure it's closed. So now to attach the lens, you have like two white dots, like a white dot here on the lens mount. You just follow that, and then boom, attach it like that. So now we have the camera, we have the lens, everything looks good. So we're ready to install the camera on a light stand in the back there. Now before we do that, obviously I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the camera, make sure it's turning on and everything is good. The first time you open the camera, obviously it's gonna ask you to do initial configuration for the camera. You choose the language, English, you enter the date. Now you can ignore all this. Like, to be honest, I never pay attention to it. I just keep going. But if you want to enter the exact date and everything, you can do that. All right. So right now the camera is on, the battery is not charged. It says 1%. That's not a problem. We're gonna charge it. But everything looks good. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead and install it on the tripod. I have another video actually that shows you all the settings you need to get right before you install the camera. So depending on when and where you're watching this, I can actually attach that video for you. All right, so for the stand, I have this light stand that I'm using. That's where we're gonna be putting the camera. The reason why I use a light stand is just a light stand is a little compact, it's smaller. If you look at the back of the desk, it's not taking much space. Usually if you have enough space, you can use a tripod, that will work as well. But a light stand is actually what I recommend the most, especially if you have a small space. Now, another little accessory that I recommend is this little ball head. It's called a tripod ball head. This is what it looks like. We got this from Amazon. It's from Small Rig. Now the reason why I recommend this is because what we're gonna be using is a light stand. But a light stand you cannot tilt. If you want to tilt the camera or make some adjustments, you cannot actually do that on a light stand. So this is gonna allow you to make some adjustments if you want to tilt the camera. So as you can see, which is awesome, right? So we're gonna be putting this on the top of the light, and we're gonna be placing the camera right there. And before we get to that, actually, another thing is, remember I talked to you about this little charger adapter. So what I got here, we have a USB cable They should be long enough. So this USB cable is for us to be able to connect the camera to power. Okay, so when we're using it, I can easily connect this, right? The USB adapter. And then this other USB Type-C is gonna go into the camera. So this is gonna keep our camera charged while we use it for live streaming. So that's pretty much it for the camera. I'm gonna install it. So guys, next up, I'm gonna show you how to actually attach this ball head to the camera, so that you know. So basically, this little, again, depending on which one you get, but there's a little plate that's gonna slide into it, and then what we need to take off that plate and then attach to the camera, just like this. So I can go ahead and just attach it. Like so. If you have a coin or key, you could actually use that just to make sure it's very tight, to tighten it. All right, so next, this is gonna go on the top of the light, and then what we're gonna do at the end, we're just gonna go insert the camera on the top of it, just like that, which is very awesome. All right guys, so the next step is, once I have this little ball head connected to the camera, the plate, we need to connect the camera also to HDMI. So the HDMI cable will go here. So there's one spot for USB and there's another spot for HDMI. So this uses micro HDMI. So what we do is, I'm gonna connect this little adapter like so into the camera, and then the little adapter will connect to the longer cable, which is an actual HDMI, like full size HDMI. So this is gonna connect into the adapter, right? So we make sure it's ready. Now our HDMI cable is ready. Now the HDMI cable is gonna connect into a capture card. So this is the capture card that we have. There are multiple types of capture card. The one we have, it's called GoStream M2. The reason why I picked it is because you can, if you want to add another camera, you can easily add it. So it has two camera inputs, which is awesome. So this is what it looks like. It comes with actually some HDMI cables. It comes with two HDMI cables, which is awesome. Oh, one HDMI cable and one USB. Which has USB Type-C adapter on it. So if you have USB Type-C, it can adapt to it, no problem. And this is what the capture card looks like, right? So a capture card will take that HDMI signal, translate or convert into USB, and then send that to the computer. So as you can see, I have two HDMI in, you can see, and then one HDMI out. You can also plug in some headphones if you want that, but we're not gonna be doing that since we already have a audio interface. But you also have one USB out, and this is what we're gonna be sending to the computer. And that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and connect that to the computer. We won't need the HDMI cable, we already have one. We're gonna be using this USB Type-C cable, obviously. So just open it and just gonna connect the USB cable into the capture card. There's no power adapter or anything, and we're gonna go ahead, we can actually connect it through the dock. All right, so our capture card is connected, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna connect, I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera on the top of the tripod, and then one of the HDMI cable, the HDMI cable from the camera is gonna connect into input 1 on the capture card. Now whenever we get a second camera, we can easily connect that into the capture card into input 2. So that's pretty much it. So now we are ready. I can mount the camera just like so. And once the camera is mounted, make sure it's safe and secure, so it's not gonna tip over. I'm gonna connect the USB to power the camera, turn it on and do some testing. All right, guys, so we just finished setting up a studio. I just want to show you a little quick what we have here. So we have the camera, which the Sony ZV-E10. We have our computer. The computer is just any gaming computer really that can handle streaming. I won't get into specs. And then we have our capture card. The GoStream M2 is connected directly into the camera, the Sony ZV-E10. And you have a little USB dock here to be able to have more ports. We have the Vocaster 2 with 2 microphone inputs. We have the 2 microphones, 2 XLR mics. This is the Shure MV7, 2 microphones, and we have 2 in-ear headphones to be able to have 2 people. Again, this is just a solo setup. However, if the client wants to use, like, you know, both microphones in case they want to do like a conversation, they have that option as well. So that's pretty much it. We have our light here and everything is looking good. For this setup, we're using EV Max as a software because the computer we're using cannot handle OBS, and that's gonna be used for also like for doing bringing in guests and stuff like that because it's browser based. So that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna turn the camera. I'm gonna show you the background, a little setup for the background. This is our background. As you can see, we have this Govi RGB light. It's a kind of flow standing lamp just to bring in, you know, some colors and everything. We also have like this little ladder with a little bit of decoration, fake plants and stuff like that, books, just to bring out some personality. Again, this is personal, so like you customize it the way you want. We're probably gonna add a little bit of maybe more colors, you know, more RGB lights and stuff like that. We may end up adding something here, and that's pretty much it. So the background, we got this little lamp here as a backlight as well, and that's pretty much it. We got a fake plant here on the floor, and that's it. So this is a close-up of the studio, and this is what it looks like, guys. Right, as you can see, it's very simple, not very complicated, but it does the job. All right, guys, another quick take. So this is what the image on camera looks like. We have EV Max open right now, and the camera is sending the image in. As you can see, we get this blurry background, and obviously I'm gonna show you the actual output of the shot, what it looks like with the background and all the lights on. But this is it. So studio done.